Okay, so today is December 18th, 2025, and I watched a video today from Minister Paul, and I commented on his video and said I would make a video. And the name of the video was The Effect of Spiritual Time Shifts. And in the video, he said, was there a pause? Now, okay, so today, I had a dream that a woman, her name is Carol. Now this person, I mean, I see her very infrequently, but she has always reminded me of my mom. My mom died, 10 years ago. 11 years ago. Anyway, she always reminded me of my mom. Just the way she does her hair and her expressions and her face and the way she does her makeup, all these kinds of things. But anyway, so I don't know if she reminds me, and I don't know if she actually represents my mom, but I just thought it was anyway. I was helping her to restart her grandfather clock, and it was stopped on the time of 10:57, and I was trying to get the correct time for her, and on my phone, I was trying to get the correct time, but I felt like on my phone it wasn't correct. Like I kept checking it to make sure that whenever she was setting the clock that it was the exact time, but I didn't trust my phone. But I was helping her to set the time. The time was 12:57. And the clock had stopped at 10:57, so it was exactly 2 hours. And she said it had stopped when her mother died. So I studied the Greek of 12:57, and it is dialepo, and it means to cease, to interpose a delay, to leave off in the middle, a pause. So Minister Paul, he was talking about, has there been a pause? Is the pause restarted? And I think it has, because this person, Carol, she was restarting the clock. Now, I researched the grandfather clocks. Now, my mom was always fascinated with grandfather clock, but we didn't have the space for one, so she had a grandmother clock, and it sat up on the mantle of the fireplace. We didn't use it because it was very loud, but so the grandfather clock is actually called a long case clock. And that's not really important, but it kept accurate time because of the pendulum, because it's so low, because it's so long, it had just the right swing to keep the time appropriately. And what's interesting is the clock was discovered in the George Hotel. I don't know anything about that, but the clock had two owners. After the first had died, the time was off, and then after the second had died, it quit altogether. So Henry Clay Work wrote a song called My Grandfather's Clock. And in this story, in the song or in the poem, the clock seems to know when major events happen, when good events happen or bad events happen, because it seemed it chimed at 24 times, extra times, right? It chimed 24 times when the owner brought his new bride into the home, and then it gave an alarm and quit working when he died. So anyway, but the song, it said, it rang an alarm in the dead of night, an alarm that for years had been dumb, and we knew that his spirit was plumbing for flight, that his hour of departure had come. Now, these 4 lines, there are more lines, but that one just kind of stood out to me because on the 13th, November 13th, I had a nap dream. I was asleep in a dream. I was napping. Anyway, and I was laying on a bed, my current bed in my current bedroom right now, which usually does not happen. Usually, when I have dreams of places, it is not my current items. I don't know if anybody else is a dreamer, but I rarely have dreams with my current items. So I knew that this was a very near moment. It was very near and present, you know? Anyway, so I'm laying in bed. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you this part because I just think it's so cool. I don't know exactly what it means yet, but I was laying there, and I think I had a headache. Anyway, and I felt like that there was something in the room in the dream, and I was just kind of nervous, and I was looking around. There was random noises, and I was laying there. My vision was weird, but my hands were invisible. I was laying there. I knew my hands were there, but I knew it was invisible. So I picked up my phone and I turned the flashlight on to see if it would flat, you know, and my phone was invisible. The light couldn't be seen either. And I just thought it was funny. But on the other side of the bed, the alarm clock radio, so it has a clock and it's a radio, was playing, and I had my earbuds in, so I took them out to hear it because it seemed like it was talking over my earbuds. So I took them out, and it was talking. It was Mike Rowe. He said something. He was saying about something about a prophecy had been fulfilled, and something about the moon. I don't remember what it was, but he said a prophecy had been fulfilled, something about the moon. And I was trying to find the off button, and when I reached, it's like a fan hit my fingers, like it wouldn't let me do it. Now, I think the fan hitting my finger hitting the fan when I was trying to turn it off, I had to reach inside the glove box of my vehicle not too long ago, and where the cabin air filter is, I had to take that out because inside the fan were leaves and trash, and it was making noise, and that's what it felt like. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but that's what it felt like there was trash in there. Anyway, that was kind of weird, but anyway. But on the table was like an 8-pound dumbbell, you know, the silver looking ones, and one side of the dumbbell was missing, so it was just one side with the rod that sticks in between, minus the other end. So it was like half, 2/3 of a dumbbell, right? And it was sitting there like it was rotating, like it was spinning. And so, and I slammed my hand on it to stop it. And so I looked up, you know, dumbbells, because that's what it was, the dumbbells. And so I just thought that was interesting. So we have the dumbbell, the bell that is silent, and it wasn't making any noise. It was just spinning. It seemed like it should have made some noise. So this clock here, it rang an alarm in the dead of night, an alarm that for years had been dumb. So something is ringing out, right? Something is happening right now. And we knew that his spirit was plumbing for a flight, that his hour of departure had come. So in this dream with the grandfather clock, the time had stopped at 10:57, and the current time was now 12:57. So there's 2-hour gap there. So I looked up 10:57 because, you know, when numbers appear, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to look that up. So I researched the Greek of 10:57, and it was Galileos, so a native of Galilee, which the meaning of Galilee means a circuit, a circle, which I've actually had a dream about that too, but it's the heathen circle, in a region in Palestine. And now this really gets down in there, but it also comes from the Hebrew word galil, anyway, from folding, a ring, a turning, or like a folding of doors, a cylinder, a rod for like a curtain. It's like a revolving door. but ultimately it comes from the Hebrew 1556, galal, to roll away. And I thought that was really cool. To roll down, to roll together. So the circuit was on October 14th. I had a lot of dreams, but I heard in one of them, congratulations, you have completed a circuit. And I just thought that was cool. And then, so on that day, a couple of days later, Holly Two Moons had a dream of Trump disappearing before his visit with China. It was like she said something about a circuit, but anyway, so Minister Paul had, talked about a pause, and I think the pause is, off, and I think the hour of departure has come. That's what I'm thinking. And here's just another little thing. I've been on here 11 minutes already, but I've been studying the name of Paul and the Hebrew and all of that, and that's very interesting. So today when I woke up and I studied Galileos, right? So all the way down in its very base meaning, to roll away, to roll down. I thought it was interesting in the study of Paul. When Jesus was talking in Luke 4:16, he was encouraging the people to include outsiders that wanted to follow God. And I just thought that was interesting. But so the story is, in this research here, it was related that Zeus had cursed Sisyphus with rolling a stone uphill for it to only roll back down at the end of the day. So for eternity, he was rolling the stone uphill and it would fall away. And so Sisyphus had escaped death. He cheated death. And so it was likened in Paul and Luke 4:16 that Jesus had kind of similarly done the same, where he said, oh shoot, I messed that up. So anyway, I messed that up. Anyway, but so it was Sisyphus had also like intermarried or something like that. So he was cursed by Zeus, who wanted to, he excluded outsiders, had to keep it, anyway. And this stone rolling up the hill and coming back down in Luke, whenever Jesus was in the temple, they took him up the hill and they were going to throw him down, but Jesus escaped. And I think that's very interesting too, that rolling, the escaping, he went from the midst of them. He made it down that hill without being caught. And I think that's where we're at right now. So Luke 4:16, that area there where they took him up to the hill and they were going to throw him down. So anyway, I just thought that was really cool, and I'm going to end it there.